gateway to Oz. Under the rainbow, this is where it was. Hollyhocks and red ripe tomatoes, hand-churned homemade ice cream. Let me tell you, Kansas is more than tornadoes. It's the best part of Dorothy's dream.
Today Around Kansas starts with a story about explorer Jedediah Smith, and learn about the goat gland doctor, Doc Brinkley. Next, enjoy a poem titled Barns Are Beautiful from our Poet Lariat, Ron Wilson. And we'll end with Hugh Cameron, the Hermit, who at one time lived in a tree near Lawrence. Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. This segment is brought to you by Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego, just a short drive down the Yellow Brick Road. It's Wednesday again, early in the morning, for those of you watching on television.
Real life. For those of you watching in real life, yes, it is quite early in the morning. It is still February.
Yes.
Deep into 2016. There was no way to get around it, was there?
Anyway, I'm Frank.
I'm Deb.
And this is Around Kansas. So, anyway.
We're going to talk about some Kansas characters this morning. And our history has blessed us with a lot of them. And a couple of them that we're going to start with today are Heather Newell and Carla Jennings from our very own office, who were recognized recently with Addie Awards. And Frank, that was a really big deal, wasn't it?
Yes. Both of them received the Silver Medal Award from the American Advertising Federation, Topeka, commonly known as Topeka Ad Club. It really is a big deal because it is an award of lifetime achievement in the advertising industry and in community service. Both of them, of course, have done many things to accomplish all of that.
It's a tough business, as you and I well know. It's a tough business, and people don't get credit a lot of times for all the hard work that it takes. And I'm out in the field with Heather a lot of times, and I know people really appreciate all the hard work she puts into covering ag events all over the state. And they may not see Carla that often because she's back in the office putting all that together. But she's a veteran of a lot of other organizations and a lot of community service projects. And we're just real proud of both of them.
Yes,
we're very proud to be associated with them.
Yes. Silver Medal Award, AAFT, American Advertising Federation, Topeka. So.
Silver medal, they didn't have to run a marathon to do it. What a great country.
Yeah.
Well, we got some other characters coming up today. We're going to talk about the goat gland doctor.
Doc Brinkley.
Doc Brinkley. You can't make this stuff up. And then we're going to talk about, the new movie Revenant has got people talking about the mountain men. And Kansas had some really fascinating characters, and one of them was Jedediah Smith. So we're going to talk about him. And one that you may not have heard of, Hugh Cameron. And Hugh Cameron was called the Kansas Hermit. And I had seen his name mentioned in some Civil War stuff. And then as I was researching the Charles Curtis Project, I came across more and more articles about him. So that's another one. You can't make him up. You won't believe it. You just won't believe it.
Well, I worked for Alf Landon for a number of years, and he was the 1936 presidential nominee. But before that, he was the governor of Kansas, and he ran against, Doc Brinkley ran against him. And it was an interesting campaign, and I got to know Alf when I worked with him, and we used to sit and talk politics, and he told me about that election, and there are things that I just can't tell you.
We'll wheedle it out of it by the time we get back. Stay with us.
Buying a car shouldn't be this hard. And at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego, it isn't. It's actually awesome. Whether you want a new or used car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. Even if you want to custom order a new car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. See Toby's team at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego. We're awesome.
Lecompton. The name was splashed across newspapers throughout America and Europe. It was debated in the halls of Congress. Lecompton interprets its unique territorial history with 2 museums and other sites. Events throughout the year celebrate history and community.
Make plans to attend the 20th annual Bleeding Kansas Lecture Series at Constitution Hall each Sunday at 2 p.m. from January 31st to March 6th. Donations welcomed.
Spend the day in historic Lecompton, shopping, eating, savoring the rich history.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine. Your stem cells, your health, your life. Okay, we're back. Have you seen the movie Revenant?
No.
No, I haven't either. But
I feel so badly because all my history nerd friends, of course, have seen it and they've argued about it. It's Leonardo DiCaprio plays Hugh Glass, who was the Mountain Man era. So that's pre-Civil War, pre-territorial period, and what would become Kansas, of course, is very prominent in that era. My friends have mixed reviews, and I can't wait to see the movie. It's just I haven't had time, honestly. But Hugh Glass really met the bear in South Dakota on the high prairie, not in the mountains, and it was the summertime, not the winter. And so that got me thinking about Jedediah Smith. And Frank, you and I, of course, remember very well the movie Jeremiah Johnson.
oh yeah, one of my favorite movies.
Well, that's based on the life of Jedediah Smith, who actually, incredibly famous mountain man of the time, a contemporary of Hugh Glass. He died probably somewhere in the vicinity of Dodge City, somewhere in southwestern Kansas is where Jedediah Smith died. And so probably not as handsome as Robert Redford. If it's a good plan, who's going to play you in your life story? You get Leonardo DiCaprio or Robert Redford. That's going to be good for posterity, but he probably wasn't quite that cute, but still a really fascinating figure.
Yeah, that was an incredible time. I mean, if you think about it, you're out in the middle of nowhere, and you're on your own. I mean, even if you're with a group of other mountain men or whatever, the thing is, you don't go to the 7-Eleven or the Quick Shop. I mean, you are on your own. And if you read some of these histories and you kind of let your imagination go and you think, this is wide open spaces out here, there isn't a town every 20 miles, it gets rather overwhelming.
They take self-reliance to a ridiculous degree, don't they?
Yes.
I mean, really. Let's take a look at the real life of Jedediah Smith. Okay, so maybe Robert Redford's movie, Jeremiah Johnson, was not based on the life of Jedediah Smith, but on the equally colorful life of John Liver-Eating Johnson, who came along a few years later. No, Jedediah Smith may be known to modern moviegoers for Night at the Museum's character, the cowboy Jedediah. No matter, his real-life exploits were beyond any filmmaker's imagination. And like our friend Hugh Glass in the new movie The Revenant, Smith did survive a bear attack and grew his hair long to cover the scar. Smith's blazing of the South Pass through the Rockies would have secured his claim as one of the great explorers of the American West, but during the following decade, Smith also explored the Great Salt Lake, the Colorado Plateau, and led the first expedition to cross the Southwest to California, all before he was 30 years old. Having lived through dozens of narrow escapes on his intrepid journeys, Smith decided to retire from his dangerous trade in 1830 and enter the mercantile business. Ironically, being a trader proved more deadly than exploring. While leading a trading caravan along the Santa Fe Trail in 1831, Smith was killed by Comanche Indians near the Cimarron River in southwestern Kansas. He was 32 years old.
From the Land of Kansas is a trademark program that helps Kansas businesses grow, produce, process, or manufacture Kansas products. Let's meet Comforts of Home, a small retail, antique, and fine home furnishing store located at 111 East Main in Chanute. Add a rustic feel to your home with hand-painted wooden decorative items. Display your favorite photos in new or antique frames. Decorate your home with beautiful ceramic vases, candlesticks, and fun drink coasters, or fill it with lovely restored antique furniture. Come shop for one-of-a-kind vintage-style clothing, scarves, purses, and hats while you browse through an eclectic collection of jewelry, or plan a spa day at home using calming soaps and lotions. For all kinds of gifts for your friends or for yourself, be sure to visit Comforts of Home in person or like them on Facebook.
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture, represents grassroots agriculture. The state's largest and most powerful farm organization stands up for its members through leadership development, agriculture education, legal defense, environmental advocacy, farm safety, and risk management. Members also enjoy money-saving benefits. To join our organization today or to learn more, go to www.kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Grain sorghum is one of the most important cereal crops worldwide, and Kansas leads the nation in its production. A high-energy, drought-tolerant crop, sorghum only requires 6 inches of water to produce the first bushel. And with its wide uses and easy adaptation, sorghum proves to be a truly indispensable crop. Kansas Grain Sorghum is committed to sorghum research, market development, and education. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org. This segment brought to you by Kansas Grain Sorghum, growers working together. Find out more at kansasgrainsorghum.org.
There is a group called the Kansas Barn Alliance, which promotes and preserves barns as a vital part of the rural lifestyle of Kansas. This poem is entitled, Barns Are Beautiful. I think a barn is a beautiful thing, surrounded by grass in the early spring. It's a place of shade to store some hay with stanchions for milking cows along the way, or perhaps a tack room or stalls, of course, where you can stable a cow or a horse. Or maybe it's converted to some modern use, which a rural landowner will come to choose. It may have a gable or gambrel roof to maintain, topped off by a cupola or a weather vane. It may be built of stone or old wood, but it brings back memories of when times were good. It's a symbol of our nation's rural legacy, a part of our landscape for all to see. And when you've worked hard on the range and you're all in, just waiting for the workday to come to an end, it's sweet to hear those words when the boss says, "Oh darn, I guess it's quitting time. Let's go to the barn." Happy trails.
Heinen Brothers, a fourth-generation Northeast Kansas farm family, knows how tough farming can be. Farmers helping farmers. Heinen Brothers Ag, selling and servicing crop protection products, fertilizer, anhydrous ammonia, cover crops, quality aerial and ground application. Call today to learn about our extended term financing program. 800-760-4964. HeinenBrothersAg.com. Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn for livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas Corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
Around Kansas, brought to you by Santa Fe Trail Meats in Overbrook, or visit us online at sftmeats.com.
Well, one of the reasons that we got to thinking about the incredible life of Doc Brinkley, and again, another Robert Redford connection, he's just on my mind today, the recent Sundance Film Festival, which is another really big deal. Robert Redford, I guess, started Sundance, didn't he? So one of the films that was being screened is the story of Doc Brinkley, and it is fittingly called Nuts. And our friend from Topeka, Jim Reardon, was involved with that. I think he actually appears in the film. He had written a project, I guess a book manuscript on Brinkley years ago, and that didn't get published, but articles were published from it. And then he was contacted by a filmmaker in New York City, and so that's how the story just kind of mushroomed, and that's how the movie Nuts got made.
Yeah, Doc Brinkley really was something else. You know, and he understood the power of radio early on. And of course, he had a radio station in Kansas, and that was what really advertised a lot of what he did. And later on, he lost that radio station, but then, of course, went to Mexico and right across the border and started XERF. And those of you that are Wolfman Jack fans know that's where Wolfman Jack made his fame. Anyway, XERF was like 1,000,000 watts, even fences in Texas were broadcasting a radio station. But the guy got away with it. No, and he became fabulously wealthy. Anyway.
And very well known.
Yes.
Incredibly well known. But yeah, he basically transforms media marketing, you know, politics. And I don't know if I'm giving anything away or not, but he kind of creates that whole.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know if people were really thinking about it. Of course, radio was in its infancy then, too.
Yes.
Or,
in later years, it's one of the reasons Alf Landon decided to start buying radio stations. So, anyway.
Lasting impact.
Yes.
Take a look at the incredible life of Doc Brinkley.
John Brinkley took the shortcut to becoming a doctor and bought his medical degree from a diploma mill. When his controversial practice of transplanting goat glands into people gained notoriety, he was not allowed to practice medicine in Kansas. Not easily dissuaded, Brinkley launched a bid to become the governor of Kansas, a political position that would enable him to appoint his own members to the medical board and thus regain his right to practice medicine in the state. He effectively used his radio station, KFKB, to help his campaign. Brinkley promised free textbooks, lower taxes, the usual campaign buzzwords. He appealed to the immigrant vote by putting German and Swedish-speaking people on the air at KFKB. He enlisted a pilot with his own plane to deliver Brinkley in grand style at his campaign rallies. Brinkley proved adept at grabbing publicity and reportedly sent a goat to a news writer who challenged his credentials. Running as a write-in independent, Brinkley lost the governor's race to Harry Woodring, becoming a colorful footnote in the politics of Kansas.
Tallgrass Commodities offers producers bulk commodities at a reasonable price with reliable service throughout the whole Midwest. To find out more about Tallgrass Commodities, visit tallgrass.us or call 785-494-8484.
Biodiesel made from sustainable resources is diversifying our fuel supply. This year, biodiesel will displace over 1 billion gallons of fossil fuel nationwide. It's making our economy stronger and our communities healthier. It's working here and across America. Get biodiesel going in your community. Visit americasadvancedbiofuel.com.
Hello, I'm Dr. Frank Lyons from Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center here in Manhattan, Kansas. Daryl was one of our patients that we did about 7 months ago.
I dug trees by hand for years and years and years. In the process, I wore out my rotator cuff. But when I learned about this process, I thought if there's a way to get rid of this pain, then I want to do it. So we did it, and it worked. And I'm not going to go out and dig trees with a shovel anymore, but but I can do the things that I want to do now.
Well, it's been very gratifying to help people with their painful joints and other entities. And it's been especially gratifying to be able to help people who I know and have worked with and known for many years.
Soil is the life of a farm, and for 25 years, SureCrop Liquid Crop Nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. SureCrop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose SureCrop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more information. Around Kansas, brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. Go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back. Well, that was fascinating, Frank.
Yeah, wasn't it?
Wasn't it?
Oh, my.
Nuts are us. Maybe that could be the other thing for today. And Hugh Cameron's going to fall into that category, too. Now, had you ever heard of him?
When you talked about it, then I remembered, okay, there was this hermit, a guy known as the Kansas Hermit. So anyway.
Known as the Kansas Hermit, and that's about all I knew. But when we were researching for Our Charlie, the documentary project that we've been working on Charles Curtis, one of the searches that I did was on Hib Case. Now, Hib Case was an attorney in Topeka. He went on to be a federal judge in the territory of Hawaii, and it's one of his descendants that founded AOL. So the Case family, very prominent family. And Hugh Cameron was a friend of the Cases, and this is where I started really getting more details. So when Hib Case passed away in Topeka, Hugh Cameron walked he lived near Lawrence, so he walked everywhere, and he walked to Topeka to see Mrs. Case to express his condolences. Well, he looks like the hermit, the big beard and everything, so he comes to the door, and she lets him in, and he warms by the fire, and so here's this poor lady, you know, her husband has just died, she's planning his funeral, and you got this friend or not, you got this old guy sitting there by your fire, and she said, do you want to stay? No, I'm okay. Well, he falls asleep by the fire, and she wakes him up and said, you know, just go upstairs and go to bed. So the next day, she goes upstairs, and he's dead. So it ain't bad enough that your husband has just died, you got to plan his funeral, now you got this dead hermit in the bedroom upstairs. I mean, can you imagine? Really? So then that got me looking for the rest of the story on Hugh Cameron, and it's just another one you cannot make up.
Now you're entering the Twilight Zone.
Yeah, really. Let's take a look. According to the book, Wonderful Old Lawrence, Hugh Cameron came to Lawrence in July 1854. He was a Free State man and decided to come to Kansas where the action was. He is listed as a farmer in Andreas' History of Kansas in 1883. His place was 3 miles north and west of Lawrence on the south side of the Kansas River and was designated as Cameron Bluff. He was born in New York State. He did not go to school but was self-educated, and he must have been a pretty good teacher since he became a professor of mathematics at the Rittenhouse Academy in Washington, D.C. He didn't get to stay there too long as he was fired because he was linked with a close friend who was a radical. From there he came to Kansas. When the Civil War broke out, he enlisted and served 2 years in the 2nd Kansas Cavalry and came out a captain. He then served 4 years in the 2nd Arkansas Cavalry and came out a lieutenant colonel. In later years, he was breveted Brigadier General of Volunteers for meritorious services. He was called by many General Cameron. The hermit was a walker. All through the years, he walked to Washington to attend every inaugural ceremony. He had important friends in Washington. Webster and Clay were intimate friends. Politically, he was usually on the side of the minority. He printed a journal called The Useful Worker, which was devoted to sobriety, equality, and equity. Cameron at one time lived in a tree near Lawrence. He counted among his friends many Kansas veterans of the Civil War.
Well, another fun day here on Around Kansas. So anyway, we have to go. I'm Frank.
I'm Deb.
And we'll see you somewhere around Kansas. Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.
Let me tell you, Kansas is more than tornadoes. We're the best part of Dorothy's dream. We're the best part of Dorothy's dream.
To see this show and past episodes of Ag AM in Kansas, go online to agamInKansas.com.